All right. Welcome in Toilets to Titles, another special bonus episode. Me and my guy, Nino Brown, at Nino Brown _ T2T. We are cooking up for the NFL fan. We're talking who's going to win more games in the 2023 NFL season. We're putting two teams up head to head that might not be in the same conference, but are two teams that are likely playoff rosters who are going to be battling it out in tough divisions. Nino, how are we doing this evening?
How you doing? It's been a while since we got to talk.
Yeah,
do a show together. I feel like it's been ages, but the concept of the show kind of just came up between both of us. We were like, "Yo, let's just do something where it's like teams that are on the playoff cusp or were there, had a lot of changes in the lineup, getting some buzz, and kind of at the same level of where they would be, towards the end of the season." And we just wanted to bring it out there. And I think the first one was a hit. I think this one will be a hit going by the current news we heard today. So Let's get it.
Yeah, man. So the last one we did was LA Chargers, Jacksonville Jaguars. You're going to want to go check that out. You can find that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out toiletstitles.com. But if you want to watch that, we break down those teams, their schedule. We also broke down a lot of what we think is going to happen. So this night, we're talking San Francisco 49ers. We're talking Cleveland Browns. We're going to tell you which team we think is going to win more games. I'm going to start with the San Francisco 49ers. We have them open up at Pittsburgh. We both have wins. We both believe San Francisco is going to be very strong this year. They're taking a step forward. Brock Purdy's mentioned, quarterback 1. All right, Sam Darnold now, quarterback 2. Trey Lance is out the door. He's going to be somewhere else. All right, so week 1 at Pittsburgh. And I know in the last episode I mentioned, I think one of the teams I had losing at Pittsburgh in a game that they probably shouldn't have lost, but it's tough playing at Pittsburgh. But it's not tough playing at Pittsburgh in week 1. Right. Week 1, San Francisco's coming. Week 2 at the LA Rams, pretty cut and dry. Yeah. They're going to win that ball game. Week 3 versus the New York Giants. I don't care what you think the New York Giants are. They're beating the New York Giants. Arizona. So there's the first 4 games for them are pretty easy.
Yeah.
Week 5, I have them beating Dallas. I have them going 5-0 just because they're like 2 things scare me as a Cowboys fan. Well, 3 things. 1, the police. All right. After what we heard.
Good old Sammy boy.
Yeah. All right. 2, Aaron Rodgers. And 3, the San Francisco 49ers. So San Francisco's had our number, but the Cowboys should be up for this one. But it is in San Francisco. You have it as a loss for the 49ers.
I like Cowboys' offense this year. I think they're going to see an uptick in tempo. I think you're going to see an uptick in the production from CeeDee Lamb. And I think that they have enough weapons where they can spread the field because there's a lot of young talent on them. Yeah. For my eyes, for Dak, it's boom or bust. He got to answer the call this year. I think they got all on defense. I know Overshawn being, out for the year, the ACL injury stinks, but they got players on there. I think Micah Parsons is going to take another step as well.
Right.
Diggs is going to be another. I just think you got a 1. You're locked in at 1 with Purdy. If he's not 100% or for some reason isn't what he was, or that momentum is gone because we only saw 1 season of it, right?
Right.
I don't trust Donald's and Mr. IC Ghosts, okay? Right. And then you're relying on that run game. And yes, CMC had a great year last year, but he had frustration for 2 years. Elijah Mitchell has missed the glass. Could it be TDP? I've been hearing a lot. You've been hearing a lot. We don't know. Is Debo a wide receiver? Is Debo a wide back? Is this the ascension of Brandon Ayuk? There's just too many questions in the 49ers offense. Right. The defense is locked down.
Dude, defense is one of the best in the NFL.
But the offense has so many questions. Yeah. I think this game, Dallas can win.
I like what you said about the Cowboys offense taking a step because I do think with Stephon Gilmore, Trayvon Diggs, with the safeties reunited, Overshown was going to be a bonus. Right. They didn't draft Overshown thinking they needed that linebacker.
Stepped into that.
And then it was like, wow. So it's a disappointment because we saw what he could have been, but going into the offseason, that wasn't a position of necessarily of need. And they filled a lot of the positions of need. And then with Brandon Cooks, I heard Brian Broaddus mention it. And I said this 2 nights ago on Toilets and Titles. He said, which I believe he wouldn't be surprised if obviously CeeDee Lamb has more yards than Cooks, but if Cooks has more receptions than Lamb, because Cooks is going to be used Lamb's receptions are going to be more meaningful. But Cooks, because of his speed, he's going to get peppered with a few 2 or 3 yard receptions just to see what he can do. So Lamb's going to finish every game, probably about 5 to 7 receptions. And you might see Cooks, but somewhere between 8 and 10,
Yeah.
with 4 or 5 of them after 15 yards,
Right.
or maybe 4 or 5 of them before
Like
10.
2. Yeah.
So that is interesting. And Dak is connecting with Cooks, and it is a make or break year for Dak Prescott because he's due for a contract.
Mm-hmm.
And think about all the quarterbacks that are coming out next year.
It's loaded. I mean,
And
they may not be all stars, but there's plenty of them that can step in, like he did.
And how about the one who's in the state of Texas? Who's probably not going to be, who's probably not going to be, he might be the second quarterback off the board. But you probably might be third quarterback off the board, which
looks good to Dallas.
That puts him outside of the top 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah. I can put him in the second round.
To move up for a guy like that is a lot easier. So the state of Texas knows about this young guy, and there might be some buzz to go and get a quarterback if Dak doesn't get it done. And I hope they do, but I have this as a loss. Go ahead.
I got a gem before we keep going real quick. Zay Flowers is Brandon Cooks 2.0. Let's keep going.
Okay, Zay Flowers. I like it. All right. Cleveland Browns, they're also in this episode. We both have a win. And then Minnesota, I have that as a win, and you have that as a loss. So I have them coming out the gate strong. You have them 2 losses. I have them no losses. So what do you see in that Minnesota matchup in Minnesota?
All right. So listen, Cook's gone. I get it, right?
Is Jonathan Taylor coming?
I don't know. I think Miami's going to find a way.
In Minnesota,
if they got him, that's the piece.
You are so close.
That's the piece.
Yeah,
because
man.
He could be a banger. Madison still could be a pass catching back. And then, you know what I mean? You're good to go. The wide receiver room is young. It can spread that field.
The window is now.
Yes, the window was. I said it last year when I had him as a Super Bowl candidate. It was this year, the past year, and this year. After that, Cousins is gone. I don't know what they're going to do. They might bring him back.
It ain't Mond.
No, it's definitely not Mond. It could be Trey Lance. We don't know.
Right.
But they have the pieces. Right. The defense is pretty stout. The secondary looks good. It's young. They got a lot of young guys who know how to play that offense. So Jordan Addison is just going to give Justin Jefferson one-on-ones. You can't give Justin Jefferson one-on-ones.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. People forget about KJ Osborne. I don't know why. The dude's done it with everybody there. I think he's going to have another step in this season. So you got weapons everywhere. You got Hawkinson. Like,
oh my God.
I think that offense is kind of like designed to beat the 49ers. Because those big guys up front could get gassed having to constantly chase the QB and try to get to the backfield in that first half. I don't know.
And we saw Darisaw tossing people around, right? So
you know what I mean? Like they got, like you said, the opportunity is now, and it's early. If the team's going to fizzle, it usually it's towards the end of the season. Minnesota, when they play well, it's usually early on.
Yeah, and it's in Minnesota. So I like that. But next week, they got Cincinnati, which we both have as a loss. So you have that as your third loss. I have it as my first loss. It's at home, but Minnesota's going to be tough. Dallas is going to be tough. Cleveland's going to be tough. 3 games in a row, a little bit of a hangover. And also Cincinnati, that's a team that's been to the AFC Championship game. They got Joe Burrow. They have weapons. They have a firepower. Cincinnati's they're going to come into this game and they're not going to doubt themselves.
No. It's same thing. They have the speed. They're built to beat this style of defense, right? Quick physical guys up front, but they can spread it and get rid of the ball fast.
Right. If
you could take Hukavana out, Baby Huff out of the secondary and make him have to play in the box and make them thin out, these short, quick, intermediate routes could kill you.
Right. Yeah, but with Cincinnati, they need to get ahead early.
Right.
Because, if San Francisco, you don't want San Francisco dictating this ball game. All right, then we have a bye. Okay, then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, which we both have a win.
Yep.
All right, but we both think Jacksonville's going to compete, but they're coming off a bye. They're going to be fresh, coming off a loss against Cincinnati. Then they go to Tampa. That's a gimme. Then they go to Seattle, which we both have a loss because it's in Seattle. Yeah. Seattle gives them problems. At Philadelphia, which we both give them a loss. They lost to Philly in the playoffs. They're going to see them again. Philadelphia is absolutely for real. They are, if they stay healthy, Jalen Hurts stays healthy, they're an absolute problem. That defensive line, then with, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Sidney Brown, they have young guys who are running around
at every level.
On fire.
They're stacked at every single level, even on the offensive side.
Yeah, it sucks. As a Cowboys fan, bravo, caps off, phenomenal.
Devonta Smith would be a one on 70% of the teams in the NFL.
Yeah, and Goddard is like the unsung. He don't even care that, like, we don't know Dallas Goedert, so we don't know. But he looks like he just
plays the role, man.
I want to do my job.
Yeah, that's it. He's a Patriot type player. I just do my job. So.
Man, like jealous. Great ball player. All right. Then we have them playing Seattle home, winning. Arizona win. Baltimore win. Washington wins. So I got San Francisco.
And Rams win at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Rams. Yep. So I have San Francisco 14-3. All right. You have San Francisco 12-5. So 2-game difference. Not terrible. Let's head over to the AFC. All right. The AFC North. Cleveland Browns, who like San Francisco, they're playing in a division where they're going to beat the snot out of each other. So both of these teams, if and when they make the playoffs, they're going to go into the playoffs a little banged up. They're going to be licking their wounds a little bit. And San Francisco looks like they've managed and handled licking their wounds a little bit better than the Cleveland Browns have in the past. But now the Cleveland Browns have got a guy like Deshaun Watson who might be able to help put a Band-Aid on some of those wounds and get in through some ball games until the team gets healthy. But let's start. Cincinnati, I have it as a loss, but you have it as a win. So tell me how week one's going to go in Cleveland.
Coming into the dog pound, right? I think this is the first time in a few years where that Cleveland defense could be something of a little scary, right? You got two ends that can attack the ball. Garrett and the gentleman that came over from Minnesota, right? You got the linebacker room. There is questions, right? But you seem like you kind of have guys that have established to be the guys. JOK and Anthony Walker Jr. seem like to be the guys at linebacker. They're not going to be
Walker's steady Eddie.
Yeah,
steady
right.
Eddie.
100 tackles if he's healthy, right? You know,
Right.
JOK kind of took a step last year because he needed to. So it seems like he's a guy. Simone Taki is still there as well, right? But the secondary is a reason why I'm in on this defense a lot, because now they're not going to let QBs have 10 seconds to throw the ball, right? Like, you got Delpit, right? You got Juan Thornhill. Those two guys can get after the ball. Those two guys can both cover. So I think the defense.
And Thornhill's been there before.
Exactly. And the way he's talking, the way he's talking, you know what I mean? Like he knows there's competition in this conference, and he knows that they have to take the next step. They all have to step up and play.
And the margin of victory, like the difference between them and the other teams, isn't far.
It's the gap's shortened. They shortened the gap this year with what they did in the offseason. Now let's hit the offense, okay? Watson's kind of put the whole problem behind him, the whole incident behind him, right? Like you don't really hear about it more before. So it appears it's behind him. The guy's not really asking the same questions no more. So he's moved on from that. I think that alone mentally should propel his game to the next level. The rust is gone. The year, like last year, we were like, okay, he didn't look good. He doesn't look good. Like in some games he shows it. That's gone. Like he's had a full season with the camp. They gave Amari Cooper help.
Yes.
Elijah Moore is about to step in and be one of the top wide receiver twos in all of NFL football, right? They got other pieces. Who's going to be the third guy? We don't know, but they got three pieces.
Tillman.
They got Tillman.
Legit.
They got Bell. They got Peoples-Jones. Like they went from not having and a Joker at tight end. So they went from not having options to having a decent amount of options. Nick Chubb is steady Eddie. He's about
that dude. You know how I felt about. I mean, Nick Chubb to me top 3 back in the NFL.
Running as a running back. I'm with you, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, if he's healthy, you have Jerome Ford, who I think is going to play an integral piece in that offense, spelling Chubb and being a pass catcher. And they're at home, and they want to make a statement. I think this game, in this conference, and then when it goes to the Chiefs conference, I think the home games play a huge part for me.
Yeah. As much as I love the first week of football because it's the first week of football, I also hate the first week of football. It's weird because it's kind of ugly. Anybody could win. Like it's not it takes about 3 weeks for it to settle in, like, so the first week is usually like a
trial period.
It's like opening an ice cream pop and it's melted inside. Like, I was excited for it. I'm like, shit, it's melted. I got to put it back in the freezer. So that's how I feel week one.
The guy I talked about that they brought in was Darius Smith from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And they just signed Shelby Harris, who was a dog over in Seattle.
Right.
So, they got a lot of pieces in that defense, man.
And they're hungry. Yep. All right. Then we got at Pittsburgh, which we both have wins.
Yep.
So you have them beating Cincinnati and beating Pittsburgh out the gate.
Yeah.
Cleveland Brown fans are going to be fired up. Those are 2 division opponents. Tennessee shouldn't give them a test at home. Then Baltimore before the bye.
At home.
We both have wins. So they're starting out the gate pretty damn strong. But the early bye, sometimes, especially when they're rolling, early bye ain't a great thing. They go to San Francisco, which is like a rude awakening. And we already talked about this matchup. San Francisco's defense absolutely loaded. Cleveland Browns, they think, we play Baltimore, we play Cincinnati, but it's like when you play San Francisco, they're playing playoff football. So then they go to Indianapolis. They get back on track because Indianapolis is going to be a disaster this season. Then they play Seattle. Seattle's another team that constantly playing playoff football, and it's in Seattle.
Yeah.
So we both have this as a loss. Arizona has a W. And then Baltimore, in Baltimore, gets their vengeance. So how do you see them matching up with Baltimore this season?
I see them splitting it. I think at this game, early, I think Munkin, Lamar, that wide receiver room is going to have to figure things out. It's going to be some growing pains. Now, at this point, we're looking at this is week 6, 7 in the season right now. So at this game, now you're looking at
week 10.
So they've already got a rapport. They know who they are. They've established themselves. And you're going in to the purple and black.
Right.
I got to think at this point, the Baltimore's going to be going for the jugular, from here on out. And I just don't – I don't know if you can go in there and establish dominance in Baltimore if they got the machine well oiled and clicking.
Man, and then they go to Pittsburgh. They play Pittsburgh. So they sweep Pittsburgh this year. We both have that as a W. And I don't think we think Pittsburgh is going to be bad, but we think that Pittsburgh's just kind of on the outskirts.
They're figuring things out.
Yeah.
The youth. There's a lot of youth in the receiver room.
It's kind of like Pittsburgh in this division is like the Giants are in the NFC East. Like they got some young pieces. They're getting it together. They could be a playoff roster, but
they made the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah.
They lost the wild card.
And the Giants made the playoffs, but like, are they good? Like, should they be winning games?
Are they legitimate?
Or should they take a year or two to kind of keep stocking up because
are they beating the teams they're supposed to?
Right.
That are worse than them? Or are they getting wins against teams that are better and on a playoff team? So that's where, they're on that cusp.
Yes. All right. But then we both have them going to Denver and losing. All right. Because it's tough.
Yeah.
Heading out to Denver after playing Pittsburgh and Baltimore. That's the big thing. You played 2 teams back to back, division opponents. You played 2 playoff games, probably knocked the snot out of each other. Now you got to go play Mile High. You got to deal with that towards the end of the season. Denver's probably going to be playing for their life right now. So that's what I'm thinking.
I'm with it. I'm with it 100%. I think they need to win. They brought in Peyton. He's changed the culture. They're saying Javante's back week 1.
Right.
Russell's lost like 16 pounds. Everybody's doing the right thing. They need to change what happened the last season with all that money invested and all that, capital. Seems like it is. I just need to see a wide receiver take a step.
Man, it's Mims. It's Marvin Mims.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Shout out to Boomer for getting a signed jersey from Marvin Mims sent to him from Marvin.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
I think we'll see.
That's what the me and the tea leaves, man. That's what
it's been a long time since Denver's had a legitimate wide receiver one. I think we're going back to Rod Smith, right?
Man, I said Tuesday night on Toilets to Titles, kind of talking about offseason storylines, talking about Jerry Jeudy. I said for Frankenstank, Frankenstank, there's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde card.
That's him. That's him.
You could put Jerry Jeudy on that card. Like we might do that in the future because the dude has all the talent in the world, but on a week-to-week basis, this show right now is NFL. We're talking NFL, but on a fantasy basis, having a guy like Jerry Jeudy makes you want to pull your hair.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? So
it's not even week to week; it's like half to half with this guy. He'll go off and have 5 receptions for 7 yards in the first half, and then be a ghost in the second half.
Yeah. All right, so we have them losing, but then we have them beating the LA Rams in LA. We both have them losing to Jacksonville. And I think this could be something that they rematch in the playoffs. I think Jacksonville is kind of like Cleveland, but just better.
Yes.
In every aspect. They have depth at wide receiver. Maybe the wide receivers kind of match up. All right. But the quarterback's better. They got depth at running back, but so they're kind of even on offense. But the defensive side of the football, their edges are better. Linebackers.
You don't count Myles Garrett for anything?
Well, because he's the one. He's one.
Darius Smith's a dog, bro. He's a Pro Bowler. So that's 2 edges.
But like,
if Trayvon Walker takes a step, I'm with it.
Right. So just projecting. Like I think Myles Garrett is the best defensive lineman
out of both.
But I just think Jacksonville has better depth at the edge position.
I think a way better linebackers, bro. Willicon is like 100 times better than anybody in that room.
Their corners are strong, and maybe the safeties are. But the quarterback makes a big difference, and I think that They're close enough that this one's going to come down to the quarterback.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think the quarterback, I think this will be close, but this is one I want to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these two talented teams go toe-to-toe because they're pretty evenly matched up. All right, Chicago, you have Chicago as a loss. So what are you thinking in this one?
I'm not drinking any juice, any Kool-Aid, reading the tea leaves, going with Aaron Rodgers and doing a what is that called? A Shkonia?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. I'm not into any of that, okay? Here's my thing. I'm not a believer of Justin Fields. I don't buy any of that. But what I'm seeing from this team is they're not going to set him up to fail, okay? They put pieces around him, and they're going to use these pieces to the best of his ability until he is comfortable with airing the ball out deep downfield. We saw DJ Moore take a 2-yard pass and take it for 65 yards, right?
Herbert did it too, man. Like two plays later.
And I think that's the scheme they're going to go to until teams start to figure it out. And here comes the play action, okay? Right. I think Justin Fields can be more dynamic for his team than Deshaun Watson is for the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Browns are going to be just a look-ahead game, looking past them. Like,
right.
It's the Bears. It's no big deal. We get the Texans. Like, we can close this out with the Jets and then the Bengals. So I think they could go in there and sneak it out. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think that Justin Fields and his legs in that run game could wear this defense out because they're a little bit older up front, right? And then come down and kick a late field goal to win the game.
Imagine if Justin Fields took a Jalen Hurts step. Because you remember.
Yeah, but it can't be this year because Jalen Hurts had somewhat of an arm.
And the line.
Right?
And the line. The offensive line was significant. But remember the conversations about Jalen Hurts.
Oh, they were
before he was, like people were just as negative about him as they are about Fields right now.
The only thing that I was worried about with Jalen Hurts was a deep ball accuracy. Can he can he be accurate and can he take enough off the power to get the touch?
Right.
We saw it last year.
Man.
I mean, he faded a couple times into that realm of like, oh, here we are at Alabama again. And guys like Smith and A.J. Brown were able to bail him out because they're top-level receivers.
Elite.
Yeah. I don't see for Fields to take that step. I'd have to see 2,800 yards. I don't think he can do that this year.
Right. I'm just saying it would be like.
But if he did 2,400, right? You know, and hit that mark close to 1,000 yards rushing like he had last year. All right, well, now we're having a comment because you're progressing. You know what I mean? You're progressing. So if he hit 3,000 yards, watch out because then the kid's got it. And I don't know if he has, but if he can do that,
be phenomenal. All right, Houston Texans, we both have a dub. New York Jets, I have as a win, and you have as a loss. So late season, you have them losing, and then Cincinnati Bengals, we both have lost. So tell me about their losses to the Jets and to the Bengals.
I think they run out of gas, okay? And I think that game against the Jets will have a lot of playoff implications for both teams. I think that the Browns could be on that wild card cusp. Could be that last team in, last team out. I think the Jets could be playing for AFC East championship, you know what I mean? Because I think them in Miami are going to be, in Buffalo, going to be right there, one game apart. And like I think that game is going to have a lot of weight on it. There's way more experience in the QB room in New York. Right. In these situations, when it comes to crunch time and playoff, than there is in Cleveland. And again, I said that defensive up front, that defensive line is older. You're looking at week 17. Are they going to have enough gas in the tank all 60 minutes when Aaron Rodgers is methodically moving them downfield for 12, 13, 14 plays? Because at this point, you're going to have Breece Hall fully locked in and healthy. You're going to have Delvin Cook, right? Probably. The Jets aren't stupid. They'll use Cook early, then come in with Hall to save Cook for the run, and then now you're going to have a two-headed monster healthy and fresh at the end of the year. I got to give it to the Jets there.
Right. And then Cincinnati, they're running out of gas for the Jets.
That's what I'm saying. I think the Jets take it out of the sale.
Yeah. It's over. You know, Cincinnati is like putting the foot on the throat, curb stomping them. It's done. Yeah. All right. So I have San Francisco 14-3, Cleveland 10-7. You have both of them closer. You have San Francisco 12-5, Cleveland 9-8.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to say to kind of wrap this thing up, or did you say it all?
I pretty much said it all. It was just like when I made my predictions on games, I know the Chicago game, people probably say, look at the schedule. Look at the route they've gone, physical teams they've faced, the age of the defense. I think that plays a key part. And on the San Francisco side, and those losses that I have, listen, that defense is elite, but the teams that I have them losing to, I feel are built to beat that defense where they're spreading these guys, and now they're making pockets, and they're getting guys who have possession receivers and can move quickly in these pockets. That I think that's a key to
Dallas
beating.
was playing toe to toe with San Francisco until Pollard went down.
When they didn't have a Cooks though,
right? But I'm saying, yeah. So they were toe to toe with them. Pollard goes down, and they didn't have Cooks. Right. And Michael Gallup was the shell of Michael Gallup.
And if they have a Jalen Tolbert as an X factor, like look out. Like you got Ferguson now is going to be a tight end. I know Schultz is probably a better tight end than Ferguson right now, but he's got juice.
Right.
And it all relies on that. I've been saying I like Purdy. I said if they didn't have Purdy and they didn't get Purdy, where would they be? Aaron Rodgers would probably be in San Francisco and not in New York, right?
Right.
But I've been saying this for a while now. What quarterback has come back from Tommy John?
Right.
Yeah. And Ben himself.
Yeah.
That's a big question mark.
It is not easy, but we will find out the answers to all of these questions very soon. Hopefully it doesn't go too fast, but man, it has been fun doing another one of these. Who wins more games? We're hoping you enjoy these. Let us know in the comments where you think we're wrong, where you think we're correct. Check us out, Toilets to Titles, toiletstitles.com, the Toilets to Titles Podcast Network, and for all your college football needs. Check out the CFB Nation. I know Nino's over there getting it done. We got KT over there getting it done. D-Now's poking his head in on the Debbie Darlings. So everybody's getting busy. I know Boomer's going to be doing Sooner Shakedown. So all that stuff, man, the network has you covered top to bottom. Let's enjoy the NFL season together. We'll catch you all later on. Take care.